Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. We had a break yesterday, and we're back on today. Welcome, good morning. Good morning to everybody on the YouTube channel and on Torah Anytime. We are now in Daf Nun Beis Amud Beis in the Mishnah, whole fresh Mishnah, very easy one. Says the Heilige Mishnah, yesterday we learned about, the previous year we learned about somebody who mekadesh with a stolen item. Now we're talking about just the opposite. Somebody who's mekadesh with a holy item, which means a kohen wants to be mekadesh his wife to be with a part that he has in the korban. He has his share in the korban, and that share in the korban, he wants to be mekadesh a lady. Can he or can he not? So says the Mishnah, Nun Beis Amud Beis. Mekadesh bechelkoi bein kodsh kodshim bein kodshim kalim and mekudeshes. A kohen who's mekadesh in his share, in his piece of meat, practically speaking, may also be a mincha. We'll see later. Let's say you have a piece of meat which Mr. Kohen received. He works in Beis Hamikdash. It's his work in the winter, work in the week in the summer. Let's say that he has to work in Beis Hamikdash. He received a piece of flesh from a korban, either kodsh kodshim or kodshim kalim. So then, what's the halacha? Can he be mekadesh a lady with that? Harat mekudeshes li be whatever piece of meat from the chatas. Eina mekudeshes, says Mishnah and mekudeshes. Whether it's kodshim kodshim or kodshim kalim. Anybody wants to enlighten me? What's kodshim kodshim versus kodshim kalim? Kodshim kodshim are chatas and osham. Well, oil doesn't apply here because oil nobody eats except for Hashem. But chatas and osham are kodshim kodshim. Only male kohanim can eat them, not women. And also, they can only eat them inside the Azara, not outside the Azara, only male kohanim. So what will she do with the meat? She'll sell it to another kohen. Maybe that's another question. Anyhow, she's not mekudeshes, according to the Mishnah. Kodshim kalim are all the kodshim that are eaten in Yerushalayim, Ira Kodesh, within the walls. These are, for example, Shlomim, B'chor, Toido, right? Pesach. We're talking about kohanim, so Pesach is not eaten by kohanim, v'chule, v'chule. But Lemaisa, we're talking about kodshim kalim. Let's say korban shlomim. That's a classical kodshim kalim. The kohen only receives from kodshim kalim chazeh v'shoik. Can eat them in Yerushalayim. Also, the female kohanois can eat it in Yerushalayim. He gets the chazeh, the chest, and the shoik, the forearm, the pulka. So now that is something which a kohen may not be mekadesh a woman with kodshim kalim. Why not? We're going to see in the Gemara. Basically speaking, you would say that it's not his. He only receives it from Hashem, and it's not his to be mekadesh. Remember the story I told you a few times? If you receive a piece of pulki from your Baal Habayis, because you're a guest and he gave you a very nice portion of chicken, it's a question whether you can be mekadesh a woman with that. Is it yours, or is it only yours in order to eat? Not to make business or Kiddushin here. And therefore here, when it comes to a korban, what do we say? No, it doesn't belong to the kohen. It belongs to Hashem. A kohen cannot be mekadesh with that. That's generally speaking. Continues the Mishnah b'Ma'aser Sheni. Here comes an interesting b'chokas Ma'aser Sheni. Who eats Ma'aser Sheni? You do. Any yid, a yit, men, women, children, they eat Ma'aser Sheni. Where? In Yerushalayim. You take the fruit, you eat Ma'aser Sheni. Can I be mekadesh a woman with Ma'aser Sheni? Machlokes. Ma'aser Sheni ben shogeg v'mezid loy kidesh diva b'meil. There's only issue about shogeg mezid, which we will only see maybe tomorrow. We'll see it in Daf Nun Gimel Amud Beis. Let's leave shogeg and mezid alone for now. It's just words in the Mishnah. But Rabbi Meir says that if you mekadesh with Ma'aser Sheni, a girl, you can't be mekadesh her. Why? Rabbi Meir believes that Ma'aser Sheni is moment gavoya. Even though it's a fruit that grew in your garden in RBSA, right? Such nice lemons you have here, and you take them to Yerushalayim to eat there. You can't be mekadesh with Ma'aser Sheni. We're going to discuss whether it's inside Yerushalayim, outside Yerushalayim, but you can't. Why? Rabbi Meir has his own famous shita just for Rabbi Meir that Ma'aser Sheni doesn't belong to you. It's like belonging to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you're supposed to eat it in Yerushalayim, but it's not yours to start wheeling, dealing, or mekadeshing. Rabbi Yehuda makes a very interesting distinction. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Rabbi Yehuda argues on Rabbi Meir and says b'shoigeg loy kiddush b'mezid kiddush. Very interesting. If both sides, I'm being general now, I'm aware that what I'm saying will be changed in the Gemara. I'm just talking in general. If both him and her knew mezid, doesn't mean mezid and avera, knowingly. If they both knowingly did Kiddushin with Ma'aser Sheni, says Rabbi Yehuda, it works. Because Rabbi Yehuda thinks Ma'aser Sheni belongs to you. You grew those lemons, they belong to you. You're limited to eat them in Yerushalayim. Nice. But it's yours to be mekadesh. Mashenkin, if it's b'shoigeg, let's say one of the sides didn't know it was Ma'aser Sheni, something was not exactly right, not within their knowledge, then she's not Mekudeshes. Why? It's a very good question. Why? That's not, Rashi said that the Gemara will explain, and I'm telling you, the Gemara will explain. Now, Ube Hekdesh, what about Hekdesh? Yeah, Hekdesh also will be discussed in the Gemara, an item belonging to Hekdesh. It's not a korban, it's an anything can be Hekdesh. Yeah, I can be Makdish when Beis HaMikdash will be built. This phone can be Hekdesh. No, seriously. And the money goes to Beis HaMikdash. Ubehekdesh, again, b'mezid kiddush ubeshogeg lo kiddush Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says, divrei Rabbi Meir, if you're mekadesh woman with hekdesh b'mezid, it does work. It's very interesting. Yeah, how could that be? Hekdesh doesn't belong to you, I would say. But Rabbi Meir says, yes, you can mekadesh with hekdesh as long as people are aware of it. It's not shoygeg. Rabbi Yehuda Omer b'shogeg kiddush b'mezid lo kiddush. Rabbi Meir says just the other way around. Yeah, dafka b'shogeg it works to be mekadesh with hekdesh, not b'mezid. Today, Lamaisa, the whole Seifa, we're not going to discuss today, so you can rest assured, today we're not doing the hard part, today we're doing the easy part, and that is about the beginning of the Mishnah. The Gemara here, obviously, begins to discuss the beginning of the Mishnah, and let's just dive into the Gemara, and I will re-explain whenever it's necessary. Okay. Says the Gemara, Nema Masnisi in the local Glili. Let us start off by saying, our Mishnah does not fit into Rabbi Yossi Glili. The Tanya, it says in the Brisa, Umalomal ba Hashem, yeah, Malomal ba Hashem, right? Oh, that needs understanding. It says Malomal ba Hashem, L'rabis kochim kalim shen mamoinoi, diva Rabbi Yossi Glili. Let me explain. We're soon going to start reading Chumash Vayikra. In Vayikra Hey, there's a parsha which was mentioned many times in this year, mainly in Bov Metzia. And that is what happens when a person has a pikodon. Yeah, let's say you swore falsely to your friend, not you, nobody here would do it. Yeah, but let's say a person was nishba l'sheker and said, you say that your money is in my house, that you deposited your money by me. Nonsense, never, no way. And he's nishba on the sefer Torah, open or in kodesh, neros choirim. He swears, Hashem Hashem, that he doesn't have the money, and then he breaks down and says that he did. No, I do have your money, and I'm so sorry. My Yetzer Hara got the better of me. What does the person have to do? Lash himself? Roll in the snow? What do you recommend he does? Choimish. He has to bring a choimish extra, which is a quarter. And what kind of korban? Osham. Choimish v'osham. So now it says that when the Torah describes that scenario, it says in the Torah, Kichesh ba'amitoi. He lied to his friend. What about Hekdesh? Let's say my friend is a gizbar, is a treasurer for Beis HaMikdash, and he deposited in my house something of Hekdesh, and I lied. That's terrible. But ironically, I don't have to bring the Chomesh V'Osham. I don't have that process. I don't have that punishment. Why? Because it's not Amito. It's not your friend. Hekdesh is not your friend. And yet, whenever I do Maver Seder, whenever it's Namikra, he always hits me with a strange word, and then I realize it says Molamal Ba'Hashem. It says it embezzled, the person who did that, who lied to his friend, is Moyal in Hashem. In Hashem, you just said the other way around, right? You just said no. You said that the person, right? You only nishba, and if you nishba l'sheker, you have to bring chomish v'osham. If it's not l'Hashem, if it's your friend's money, so what's Molamal Ba'Hashem? Said Rabbi Yossi Glili, it's coming to include kodshim kalim, which means the type of korbanos that are, what's kodshim kalim? What does kalim mean? What's kal? Light. The lighter kodshim, the less severe kodshim, the more lenient kodshim, the lighter kodshim, they do belong to their owner and are considered his money. And if a person, let's say, dedicated a little shepsale, a cutesy shepsale to be shlomim, he's planning that those shlomim will go on the Mizbe'ach in 2 weeks' time. Meanwhile, he's going to Chutz La'aretz and then he's coming back. Where did he put the shepsale of shlomim? By his friend. So, Molomal Ba'Hashem, there's one kind of item which does belong to Hashem, but really is considered to be La'amito. How could that be? Kochim Kalim. He dedicated it to Hashem, but they still have the status of being owned by the owner, by the mekadesh. And if the person lied about it, the shomer, the guard of that sheep, he will have to bring chomish v'osham. So one thing we'll learn from here, says Rabbi Yossi Glili, I learned, says Rabbi Yossi Glili, everyone argues with him. Rabbi Yossi Glili says, kodshim kalim are considered completely the money of their owners, of the mekadesh. And if so, our Mishnah does not fit who? Basically, why? The Mishnah said kochim kalim and kochim kalim. You cannot be mekadesh a woman. Why? If Rabbi Yossi Galili thinks that the kochim are mine and I can debate and I can demand it from other people and cause them chomish v'asham, so they do belong to the owner. They do belong to the mekadesh. So why does the Mishnah say that you cannot be mekadesh a woman? Okay, must be our Mishnah. It's not Rabbi Yossi Galili, which is okay. Rabbi Yossi Galili is a Tana. Is the Mishnah arguing on him? Says the Gemara, no. Let's make peace. The elections are over. Let's be peaceful. Answers the Gemara, no. Even if you say the Mishnah follows Rabbi Yossi Galili, it's going to work just right. Why? Oh, when did Rabbi Yossi Galili say that the korban belongs to the person, to the owner, as long as he wasn't shechted, and I would add, shechted and the blood wasn't spilt on the Mizbe'ach. At that point, the korban belongs to you. Once the korban, what happens when you go to BSD Kohanim? What do they do with it? Shchita, kabbalah, hoilocha. Most important, zrika over the Mizbe'ach, shrach, one corner, the other corner. Then some of the meat, the imurim, the kishkas, are brought onto the Mizbe'ach. At that happy moment, who eats the basar? Who eats the meat? Some for the kohanim and some for the owner. At that point, funnily enough, it stops being him. Because once the blood and the chelev went on the Mizbe'ach, it became owned by who? By Kadosh Baruch Hu. And you know why he's eating the meat? He's getting the crumbs from the table of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Listen to the words of the Gemara, first wide line, my time. And what's the reason? Ki kazochu, b'shulchan gavoya kazochu. Oh, which means the kohanim, which receive, or the Israelim, Rashi says. What do the kohanim get in Shlomim? Chazeh v'shoik, the chest and the pulka. And what do the other people get? The bailim, everything else, all the rest of the meat. They get that mishulchan gavoya. They're like the guest in the balabas's house, which receives the gift, the plate of cholent for balabas. You're not the owner; you receive it from him. Yeah, and therefore, once it was nikrav, the flesh that's eaten by different people do not belong to them, not even according to Rabbi Yossi Galili. And therefore, the Mishnah is very good. The Mishnah fits into everybody because the Mishnah spoke about the pieces of meat, as I told you when I read the Mishnah, by the way, the pieces of meat that are given to Kohanim and Israelim, that does not belong to them. They belong to Hashem, and He gives them portions from His table, the Mizbe'ach, Daikanami, and it's even inferred from the Mishnah. You can even read it in the words of the Mishnah. The Ketani, it says in the Mishnah, a mekadesh bechelkoi, and kochim and kochim kalim lo kiddush mamino. What does it mean chelkoi? What comes to your mind when you say his portion? A person was mekadesh and his portion in a kochim, that is to say, what's a portion? A piece of meat. You can fantasize on any kind of piece of meat you want in the steak. Lamais, it's a piece of meat, chelek. We definitely are not talking here about an animal that's alive and kicking and grazing and mooing, right? That's not what we're talking about, because that's not called chelko, it's an entire animal. Chelko means a portion that you received with 10 other kohanim, 20 other kohanim. That everyone agrees is not considered to be his money. Are we happy? Tzvi. By Shemitah, when you have Paris Shemitah and you chop them from someone's field, which is okay, you're allowed to eat them and it's yours, but you're limited. You can't do X, Y, Z with that, but you can eat it or nothing much more. If you're mekadesh woman, no, don't do it next time, but that's beseder, b'di'eved. But a kochim, lekula al mekochim, before and after. And according to Rabbi Yossi Galili, after the shchita and the zrika, they belong, bichlal don't belong to you. They belong to Hashem, and He gave it to you from His holy table to eat, so to speak, from the crumbs. Are we better? Dok the heilige Gemara, Ton Rabbanon, story time. Story from the times of the Talmud. Ton Rabbanon. Le'achar ptirot shel Rabbi Meir. What happened after Rabbi Meir? The heilige Tana Rabbi Meir was niftar. Amar Rabbi Yehuda leTalmidav. Rabbi Yehuda told his own Talmidim, his own disciples, Ali kansu Talmid Rabbi Meir lekan. I don't want Rabbi Meir Talmidim to come here. I don't want to teach the Talmidim of Rabbi Meir. Their Rebbe was niftar. They're going to come to my shiur. I guess there are two shiurim, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir. They shouldn't come to the classroom of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir Talmidim out. Why? Because they are maknitim In other words, they are argumentative for the sake of argument. Art scroll English, what's Kantran? Provocateurs. Provokers. Provokers. Okay, fine. Okay. Let's continue. V'lo lilmod Torah hem boim. They're not coming to learn Torah. Ela lekapcheni b'halachos hem boim. They only come to kapcheni b'halachos. In other words, they want to kind of kill me, cut me with halachos. Says Rashi, they come to argue not in order to know the truth. They only come to argue to show how great they are, how smart they are. Lodia kama charifim v'no'amid kenegdem, says Rashi. They just want to show how great they are, how smart they are. They're like, want to make a statement, sharp and clear. They're not in for a real democratic discussion. They just want to show how smart they are. I don't need such people to be in Shiur, says Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, very nice. So now, however, Dochak Sumchus v'nichnas. Yeah, but Sumchus came in and pushed himself in. Sumchus somehow sneaked in, pushed himself in. Sumchus was a Rabbi Meir Talmid, and yet he managed to come in. He somehow, like a Sephardi kid going to an Ashkenazi cheder kind of thing. Yeah, managed to come in. Amar lahem, and he told them, Kach shonu Rabbi Meir. Sumchus now started the discussion, and he said, that's what Rabbi Meir told me. A mekadesh bechelko ben kochim uben kochim kalim lo kidesh. As we saw in the Mishnah, a kohen, let's leave it for a kohen for now, although kochim kalim can apply to Israel, the seder, a person, let's say a kohen, was mekadesh with his part in kochim kalim, kochim, and the Kiddushin do not apply, as we saw in the Mishnah. And Rameir is sharing this news with who? With his new classmates, so to speak, with Rabbi Yudaniks. Koas Rabbi Yehuda aleim. Rabbi Yehuda was angry with them or with him. Rabbi Yehuda got upset, and he said, Omer leim, lo kach amarti lachem. I told you, people. I told you that's what's going to happen. Ali kantum talmidei Rabbi Meir lekan. If shekantanim him. Yeah, I'm telling you that people of Rabbi Meir should not come in here, because they are just provoking. Yeah, they're just trying to create an argument. They're not coming to learn real Torah. They're coming to, as I wouldn't say it myself, like to hack in the Chainik. They're just coming to, start to steer all kinds of new issues. Why? They're just coming to show how smart they are and kilu cut me with their so-called halachos. Why is Rabbi so upset? Because Rabbi is asking, how would you ever have a woman in Azara? In other words, you're talking about very, very theoretical, hypothetical cases, which would never happen. A kohen is mekadesh a woman. Now, kochim cannot leave the Azara, as I told you. Kochim, if the piece of korban chatas or osham are outside, even if they go to Ezras Noshim, not outside Beis HaMikdash, I'm not sure what I said, and if I was wrong, yeah, outside Ezras Kohanim, if you have a picture of Beis HaMikdash in your mind, past Shar Nikonor, you have 11 amos, you have the 15 steps, and then the gates, yeah, and then you have the main part of the Beis HaMikdash with the Mizbe'ach there and everything, not the inner door, the outdoors, but the main place with the big Mizbe'ach. Anything that goes outside of that big courtyard with the Mizbe'ach in it, if the basar is out, goes to as a snoshim, hustle, it's disqualified. You can't be mekadesh anybody, you have to burn it. Yeah. So you're telling me that how would the kohen approach a woman to be mekadesh her? She came into Beis HaMikdash, into the Azoro. How could that be? A woman, says Rashi, is not allowed to go into the Azoro. A woman stays in Ezras Noshim, and she's not allowed to go into the Azoro of the Israel or Kohanim. No. Well, you're talking something else. What you say is the Gemara at the end of Sukkah. Ezras Noshim really refers to the entire courtyard, the exterior courtyard, when you had the 4 lashachos in its corner, the shichas nezir, mitzeroim, matlim, eitzim. That the first entrance with the first courtyard before the 15 steps, that's all called Ezras Noshim. And meikar din, men and women can be there together. At some point, the soil was too much taruves. They built a balcony, yeah, like a gzustra, yeah, like no, how do you call it? No, like in the theaters. No, not a balcony, a gallery for women. But women are allowed to be downstairs also, make her din, as long as it's not too crowded. Now, but inside, past Charney corner and 11 amos past that, when you're really in the Mizbe'ach area, no women are allowed. So how can you have Kiddushin? That's Rashi. Toises is arguing with Rashi. Toises argues and Toises that it's not true. Because sometimes women are allowed to do shchita, even in Beis HaMikdash, so they can go into the into the south and into the north. Yeah, on the northern side to your right, when you come in from Shani Konor, you have all the tabois, all the shchita area. A woman is allowed to be there, and also a Nezira brings her korban, so she comes in. And a Yoledes and a Metzoras, women do come to Beis Hamikdash, not in whatever, they don't storm in, like in messes, but they come in every once in a while. So what's Rashi saying? Ella says Tosfos. What does it mean? Isha Bazar Minayin says Tosfos. It's a big bizoyan and very crazy to have a chasen in Beis Hamikdash. You didn't find a better place. Yeah, like today on Chutzah, it's very common to make a chasen in shul. I know, pseder. But Beis Hamikdash, that's where you find a place to get married. Is kind of not really relatable. Yeah, you don't. That's not a woman comes in with a white dress. Not that pasnish. It's not something accepted to do the Kiddushin inside Beis Hamikdash next to the Mizbe'ach and the blood and the korbanos and the Helikite. In any event, that's what Rabbi Yehuda said, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda refused to relate to that story, to that scenario suggested by Sumchus. Omar Rabbi Yossi, here Rabbi Yossi, another Tana, came to the rescue. Says Rabbi Yossi, Yomru, people will say, what will people say? What's going to be, for the rest of history, what's going to happen for eternity? People will say, Meir Shochav, Rabbi Meir died, Yuda Koas, Rabbi Yehuda was upset, was angry. He didn't want to relate to the question. Yossi Shosak, and Yossi kept quiet. Rabbi Yossi already kept quiet once, remember, yeah? Right? The story of like Boimer, yeah? Yossi was the one who was quiet, so they made him go to the goal. It was Yossi. Rabbi Shimon spoke against the Romans, right? Rabbi Yehuda was the one who spoke for them, and Rabbi Yossi was the one who kept quiet. Says Rabbi Yossi, I'm not keeping quiet now. What will happen with the Torah? And now Rabbi Yossi is going to argue with Rabbi Yehuda and say that sometimes Kiddushin may take place in the Azorah. For example, number one, excuse me, let's say every woman is present at her own chasana. Well, usually yes, but if the little girl is little, if she's below what, how much? 12 and a half, who receives her Kiddushin? Not as shliach, as the owner of Kiddushin, the father. So maybe Father Kohen is there with his other colleague, Kohen colleague, and he's receiving Kiddushin for his daughter, who is home now in Beersheba playing in the kindergarten. Yes, so it's not so far out. So there could be such a case, and we have to deal with it. Yeah. Secondly, another possible scenario. Then Isha lasas l'shlich lekabel kiddusha ba'azorah. Rabbi Yisai, this whole parak is all about what? Shlichus. Any woman can make any man or any woman a shliach to be receiving, accepting on behalf of the Kiddushin. So maybe that lady, she won't go to Beis Hamikdash. She wants to marry. That's actually very practical. Imagine yourself a couple. They really, really want to get married right now. Stars in the eyes. Oh, but now he has to go to Beis Hamikdash for a week. She can't wait. She wants to be mekadesh to him. And he's a kohen, works in Beis Hamikdash. What does she do? She goes to her next door neighbor. Hey, Mr. Kagan, Kanovich, Azulai, whatever the name of the kohen is, when you go to Beis Hamikdash, you're going together with my fiance. Can you please receive Kiddushin on my behalf from him? Why not? Gant Shaykh, yeah, can do that. So you do have such a reality. The woman is not there, but Kiddushin still take place in the Azor, and it's very mechubad, it's very normal. You don't see a woman there. Yeah, why not? And thirdly, the woman was a bad girl. Let's say the woman did come in. According to Rashi, it's wrong. According to us, it's not so wrong. What would happen if a woman does come into Beis Hamikdash to receive Kiddushin? You still have to know the question. What's the question? Not about the location. The question is, what would be the halacha regarding ownership over kochim? Does the kohen own the kochim to be mekadesh her, or doesn't he own the kochim? He just receives it from nowhere, yeah, and from Shulchan Gavoya, and therefore he cannot be mekadesh her. The question is still a question, right? And therefore, now we're going to reframe the whole machloikes. Now comes machloikes of only two sides. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mekudeshes. Believe it or not, Rabbi Yehuda at the end of the day did relate to the case. Rabbi Yehuda at the end of the day said she is Mekudeshes. Rabbi Yehuda believes what? That the money, the meat that he eats belongs to who? To the kohen. And therefore she is Mekudeshes. It's not just him from crumbs from the table of Gavoya, but it's mamish his meat for everything, all intents and purposes. He can be mekadesh a woman, right? That's what Rabbi Yehuda says. Not that I believe that the woman should go there, but if she did, she's mekudeshes. Rabbi Yossi Omer ena mekudeshes. Rabbi Yossi says, no, she's not mekadesh. Says Rabbi Yossi, no. Why? Well, I assume what does Rabbi Yossi think? No, it's not yours to be mekadesh. It's yours to eat nicely, and be quiet. Don't be mekadesh other women with that because it's not yours for Kiddushin. All very nice. That's machlokes. Rabbi Yehuda says she's mekudeshes. Rabbi Yossi says ain't mekudeshes. What's the source of the machlokes? Very nice to say does or doesn't belong to, but who told them, one way or the other? So Omar Rabbi Yochanan comes to explain. Says Rabbi Yochanan, what does Rabbi Yochanan say? Shnei mikrei chadorshu. Wow. Both Rabbi Yossi, both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir, both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi, however, obviously Rabbi Meir said the same. Rabbi Meir also says lo kiddush. So Rabbi Yehuda is against Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Meir. The Seder. Okay, that's fine. What's the pasuk that the both darshan in opposite ways? When the Torah talks to the kohen, so to speak, and says they will be yours, meaning the meat of the kochim will be yours, it will be from the fire. What does it mean from the fire? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Sovar lecha ulekol tzrochecha. The eish, what it means the fire? Well, the imurim go in the fire, very nice. Who gets the meat? The Kohanim. And look at the first word, the beginning of the pasuk, zeh lecha. What do you have to say lecha? Zeh mekadesh kadoshim leochlo. Doesn't say leochlo. It says lecha lekol tzrochecha. It's yours for anything. It's your meat. Do whatever you want with it. I mean, you can't take it out. You can't be mevazit. You have to eat it within a certain period of time. You can also give it to your friend. You can give it to your fiancé, to your friend, the woman, and be mekadesher. Mekadesh bo'isha. What will she do with that? She can't eat it. She'll sell it to another kohen. That's another question. Yeah, which I had. She can maybe sell it on. I don't know what she'll do with it practically. Bas kohen cannot eat kochikochim. She cannot eat kochikochim on the kochim kal. I said it in the intro. When I said women, I meant any woman, even the wife and daughter of a kohen gadol. They cannot eat kochikochim on the kochim kalim. Lamai said it does have value because maybe other kohanim would pay for it, or I don't know. It's a question. I admit. But Lamai says she can receive it be'etzem. The kohen can do whatever he wants with it, including be mekadesh. That's Rabbi Yehuda. The Rabbi Yossi. Now Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Meir too. So that ke'esh. No, we compare it to fire. What does it mean? Ma'esh la'achila funami la'achila. Which means, I'll ask you a question. What does the Mizbe'ach, the fire, how many pyres? It's called pyre. Pyre. How many pyres? How many fires were on the Mizbe'ach? Machlokes in Yoma. La'alocha, 3. The main one was when you throw the meat and the fire consumes it. What does it mean to consume? To eat. What does the fire do with it? It eats it up. It consumes it. Just like the part that goes to Hashem is, so to speak, for consumption only. The Mizbe'ach is not mekadesh women. The Mizbe'ach doesn't do anything with it by eating. Afunami la'achila. So too, your lecha is equivalent to the fire. Just like the fire eats it, nothing else, so to you, Mr. Kohen, the only thing you can do with it is eat it yourself like a good boy, and you're not allowed to mekadesh a woman with that. That's a shita of Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Meir. All very nice. That's how Rabbi Yochanan explains it. Now continues the Inyan continues. Omar Rabbi Yochanan. So right now we have an argument. Who's against who? Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda says, do whatever you want with the kochim, not whatever you want. If you mekadesh a woman, you have more free hand in the kochim, says Rabbi Yehuda, while Rabbi Yossi says no. Rabbi Yossi says you're limited. Rabbi Yossi, samech, sagur. You're more limited, just eat it and nothing else. Eat and keep quiet. You make a bracha before, lachilas kochim, lachilas vachim, whatever the achila, and eat and finished. What's a machlekes? We explain eish, lecha. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, that was not the end of the story. Starting today's Amud. Nimnu v'gomru. Nimnu means there was a minyan, there was a like election, there was a referendum, there was a referendum between, there was a vote, the gomru, and they decided mekadesh bechelko bin kochim and kochim kalim loy kiddush, which means according to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yehuda gave in at the end of the day. Rabbi Yehuda gave in to his colleagues, to the other Tanoim, Rabbi and Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda voted and said, yeah, okay, the bottle. In other words, there were more people who supported Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi that a kohen cannot be mekadesh. Rabbi Yehuda supporters, they either regretted. Rashi says, "Chosru bahem v'gomu." Once they were outnumbered, outvoted, they say, "Okay, we agree with the Roiv, say they're showing good, and we agree that a kohen cannot be mekadesh." So now it's unanimously agreed. A kohen cannot, like the Mishnah said, a kohen or Israel cannot be mekadesh with his part in the kochim. That's what Rabbi Yochanan said. The Rav Omar. Rav argues with Rabbi Yochanan. By the way, you realize the generations here. I don't have to explain. Yeah, Rav and Rabbi Yochanan are first generation Amoraim who talk about the Tanoim. They argue about what happened historically in the times of Tanoim. Rav the Amoiro argues on Rabbi Yochanan the Amoiro about the Tanoim. The Rav Omar Adayim Machloikes. Rav says no, that's not true. Rabbi Yehuda never regretted what he said. Rabbi Yehuda never revoked what he said. Rabbi Yehuda Chai V'Kayim, stronger position. Rabbi Yehuda is still in the opposition, screaming out loud that the kohen may be mekadesh a woman with his chelek. Okay, now it's going to get interesting. Omar Abaye comes Abaye and says, "Kavose Rabbi Yochanan mistabra." Says now Abaye, I think that literally in a second will be with you. Kavose Rabbi Yochanan mistabra. I'm going to prove to you now, or at least to show support to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan that says that Rabbi Yehuda does or did regret, and everyone, including Rabbi Yehuda, believe that a kohen cannot be mekadesh with his part. Why? Because his part in the kochim, the piece of meat that he gets from kochim, does not belong to him. Yeah, the Rabbi Yehuda belief still holds that Rabbi Yehuda holds that he agreed already to a mayor. He agreed, and he agrees to everybody, to his opponents, that a kohen cannot be mekadesh. Yeah, that's what you want to say now. Rabbi Yehuda holds he cannot be mekadesh because Rabbi Yehuda was outnumbered and then gave in and said, okay. And really, the kohen cannot be mekadesh a woman with his part, and I'm going to prove it to you now. Says about yay, yes. Question. Yeah. Stand corrected. You didn't mean to correct me, but you indirectly corrected me. It wasn't. Sorry, apologies. I made a mistake. According to Rav, when we said Adani Machloikis, it means they never actually had that quorum. They never had a real vote face to face. Very good. Wow, I was a mistake, and you're supposed to correct me. Rabbi Yehuda says Rashi, Adani Machloikis. Look at the second Rashi. Loi omdu laminyan. Therefore, Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rav, the reason why it's a Machloikis is they never did a proper vote in which Rabbi Yehuda was outnumbered. Mimel, Rabbi Yehuda can still hold his opinion. We don't know if there's a majority. There's no elections, no Rav, no nothing. So Rabbi Yehuda keeps teaching his teaching. Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi they're teaching, and we all live kind of happily ever after, but with separate opinions. That's pshat. It's not that they was outvoted and he still holds his opinion, because that would be wrong. Shkoyach, thank you very much. Wow. Okay, thank you. Beseder. Oh, shkoyach. I'm happy you corrected me. Weiter. Omar Abaye, kavosed Rabbi Yochanan mistabra. What Rabbi Yochanan says makes sense. Again, according to Rabbi Yehuda really gave in. He was outnumbered. What did Rabbi Yehuda say? That even Rabbi Yehuda holds a person cannot be mekadesh with his part. No? The Tanya. The following Baraisa. Before we continue, I'll tell you something very, very simple. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people here with little children at home. Yeah, try and remember how supper looks like many years ago when, again, complete science fiction, very theoretical, one child doesn't like a certain portion of food that he gets. Never happens. Well, let's say he doesn't. But lucky you or lucky your wife, let's say you serve, I don't know, schnitzel and chips, I don't know, fish and chips. Let's be British, yeah? So he only likes fish and she only likes chips. Great. So it's not so healthy with the carbs, yeah? Let's say, so the one who likes chips will get 2 portions of chips, yeah? And the one, the French fries, whatever you call it, yeah? And the one, I'm not into health right now, and the one, it's also not educational, I think, but if the one who likes chips will get everyone's chips, yeah? And the one who only likes the fish will get everyone's fish, yeah? Let's just barter, right? And I'll get all the stuff that I like, and you'll get all the stuff that you like, so it's uneven, but we're okay. The question is, and excuse me, that more talks about that right now, what about Kohanim? Let's say I'm a Kohen, all of us are Kohanim, we work in the same mishmar, Yeah, that day there's a mishmar. The mishmar of our family is a Wednesday, is a Tuesday, Parshas Pekudei. Yeah, that's a mishmar of today. And I got what? I got one piece of meat, right? And I also got one piece of another kind of meat. And I only like one type. So you got also, let's say I got black meat and white meat. So I'm saying, yeah, you got black and white. Can I switch it? Yeah, with today money, or can I just switch Bechlal? Even that. Let's say I have a black piece of meat and you have the white piece of meat, and mine is worth 50 shekels, yours is worth 50 shekels. Can we swap it? Yeah, I only like this, but they gave me this. Whoever's in charge gave me this. Can I get, yeah, or from different korbanos, or we'll see all the different versions of the swapping. Can a kohen swap his meat for the meat of another kohen? Yes or no? And that shows ownership. If it's mine, of course I can. Why not? If the value of the meat that I received is worth 50 shekels and I own it, yeah, I can switch it for your mincha. You're an Atkins, you're on a whatever ketogenic diet, so you're not going to have the mincha. It's made out of flour. You have this donut kind of thing. I love it. You'll give me the donut and I'll give you the meat. I'm vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian kohen and you're a keto kohen. So you give me your carbs and I'll give you my meat. Very nice. Maybe that's possible. Yes or no? Well, depends. If it belongs to me, I'll do as I wish. But if it doesn't belong to me, and a Kodesh Baruch Hu gave me the meat to eat from the korban of the meat, I can't switch it. I'm supposed to eat what I received from Hashem as crumbs from Shulchan Gavaya, right? It doesn't say crumbs. It's from Shulchan Gavaya portion. That's the question. Let's see what the Bryce has to say. The Tanya. Minayin she'ein choilkim menochas keneged zvochim. How do you know? Well, the case I just gave you, mincha against, in response to, instead of zvochim, yeah, one kohen has mincha, and mincha is flour meal offering, as you call it in English, yeah. Zvochim is a piece of flesh. Can I switch mine for yours? Yeah. Is it possible? Keneged domim. I have chatas or osham. You have mincha. Switch it. Why not? Well, no. Ein cholkim. It says you're not allowed to. Why? Because it says there in Veikra Zayin, when it talks about menochas, it says Talmud Loimar, L'chol mincha sheteofe b'tanur, any mincha that's baked in the tanur, l'chol bnei Aaron tia, l'chol bnei Aaron, all children of Aaron has to eat it. Be a good boy, Ben Aaron, and eat your mincha nicely, and don't switch it. Chol bnei Aaron, each and every son of Aaron has to eat the mincha and not switch it with what? With zvochim. Should not switch it with meat. Says the Brisa, okay, there are all types of switching. Now, maybe the Brisa is inching its way through, trying to gain more and more cases. I understand why mincha, to be switched or swapped with zvochim, that is really something which is, they're too far apart. Mincha and zevach are so different, as we're going to see soon, so you can't switch them. They're like two, it's like chalk and cheese, or you call apples and oranges. Yeah, it's too bli kesher. You know why it's so disconnected? Which means a poor person, yeah, who cannot bring a proper korban chatos in certain cases, in 3 cases of chatos, yeah, let's say going to Beis Hamikdash Betuma, one of the 3. If you can't afford a real flesh korban, what do you bring instead of that? You bring instead of that a bird. You don't bring instead of that the meal offering. That's a third option. In the hierarchy, in the totem pole, the first thing you should bring, the ideal thing to bring is mamish a kivsa, female sheep. Yeah. If not, you bring 2 birds, and if not, you bring the meal offering. But the meal offering is too remote on the other side of the spectrum from the flesh, from the meat. So meat and mincha are so far apart. So therefore, it makes sense. You can't switch one for the other, even if they're worth the same kind of money. It's too far apart. The Torah wants you to belong to one camp and not to the other. Aval, maybe you can suggest something more close. Maybe a good shidduch to swap would be yachleku menachos keneged oifos. Oh, let's say the person doesn't like to eat doves. He doesn't like to eat doves. Yeah, the Yomi, he doesn't like to eat doves. There is a reason I'm laughing. I'll tell you after Shiur. Yeah, my life story. Yeah, Menachas, he doesn't like to eat doves. He's traumatized by eating doves. So he says, okay, I'll give my dove. You love doves, right? For sure, I know you do. Oh, come on, you do. So Yitzchak. I'll give Yitzchak the kohen the dove, and I'll have your nice, yummy minchas marcheshes donut. Yeah, why not? Maybe that we can do. Why? Because they are similar, right? because yachluku menachos keneged oifos, yeah, sharikamu tachten bedalus. Again, in the totem pole, we have the top one is the choshuv behema, out, that's too snobbish, too up there. But the two middle class one and the lower class are what? The birds and the meal offering. They're close by. So maybe you can switch one with the other. Maybe that you can. Talmud Loimar, no. B'chol nasa b'mercheshes. Anything done in the mercheshes in a deep fry, in the mercheshes is the 6 types of menachos. One of them is mercheshes. That's a deep fry. It's like the one we eat on Hanukkah, but without the sugar. Yeah, the one fried in the mercheshes. L'chol bnei Aaron tiyeh. Now that pasuk doesn't only talk about mercheshes. It teaches you another extra pasuk to tell you menachos should be eaten, and menachos should be eaten twice. You can't switch menachos for bonus, big ones. You can't switch menachos to the one below them, to the one to the other ones, to the birds. Can't switch menachos neither with zvachim, neither with the birds. Okay. Yachal lo yachalku. We're trying again and again. Yachal lo yachalku menachos keneged oifos. Mincha keneged an oif. That's too far apart. Why? Very different. It's two separate masechtes in Shas. Shalalu minei domim, valalu minei kmochim. We all know that. In other words, the birds and the behemoths, what about them? Blood. They are, what do you bring to the Mizbe'ach? The living beings, and the blood is brought to the Mizbe'ach. They're one part. What about the menachos? They're made out of kmochim, out of flour. They're two, tzvochim and menachos, two separate worlds, yeah? So that I can understand, I can relate to the Torah is coming to exclude them. Don't start your Atkins diet or vegetarian diet. We're not in the diet now. It's based on mekadesh. Stop the nonsense. Eat your mincha and you eat your zvachim or your ofas. Aval, maybe the bloods among themselves, the flesh, the different types of meat and poultry between them, maybe they can have a, how do you say in English, kombina? Maybe can do something between the oifos and they can swap and switch the oif and the behema. Aval yachlaku oifos can get zvachim. They're friends. Maybe I can swap the bird for the meat, of the, let's say, the veal or the mutton. Talmud Loimar al machvas. Although the pasuk al machvas talks about the shallow frying pan, im eino inyan lemenachos, because we're done menachos already, it comes to tell you not to switch bechlal, not even ofos keneged zvochim. And the Brisa continues to insist. It's a diehard. It's lahavdil, like the child who wants to switch the food. Lahavdil of $5. I understand why the Brisa did not like the idea of oifos and zvachim. They're very far apart. What's the main difference between the korban? There are many differences. What's the main difference between the way that the korban oif is brought and the korban of the behema is brought? Hint. See my pinky? Oh, I know I'm surrounded by geniuses. Shalalu maseim bayad, balalu maseim bekli. Right? In other words, the bird, where do you do the shchita? On the Mizbe'ach, and the kohen with his sharp nail, he does the melika from the back, by the way. Yeah, Mashenka, and the behema is shechted, like shchita today, what? With a knife. So that's very different. The shchita is a very crucial point. It's so different. The shchita with a knife, with a finger, that's very different. Don't mix them. They're separate places. The oifos and the dvochim. Aval yachluku menachos keneged menachos. Wait a second. There are many different types of mincha. Can I switch my minchas marcheshes keneged minchas machvas? Let's say I like the one that is hard because it's fried on a shallow frying pan. So it's hard, like the krem zalach of Hanukkah, and you like the donuts that are deep fried. I'll switch my donut, my minchas marcheshes, for your hard one, for your minchas machvas. They're very, very similar. They're both from the menachos family. Aren't they all more or less the same? Shalalu valalu maseim bayad. They're both bayad. The mincha and the mincha bayad. How do you do the shchita? I'm not joking, by the way. What's the equivalent of shchita in menachos? The kmitza. When you come with it is for many purposes. I don't have kochna, except that you can only do the kohen. But I'm saying it's equivalent to many things. The kmitza, when you take a piece, not a piece, when you take some of the flour in your hand and you go like this and you put it on the mizbeach, that pula is the shchita. It's done with the hand. The both menachos. So maybe you can switch one type of mincha to the other. Talmud Loimar b'chol mincha blula b'shem and chol bnei Aaron. No. Another pasuk. Every mincha to all of bnei Aaron. The pasuk is being very particular. each and every child of Aaron, you eat what you got from Mizbe'ach, like a good boy, Bnei Aaron, no playing around. And again, we're asking, Yochol lo yachleku machvas keneged marcheshes, as I told you. What's machvas? Machvat. What's machvat in modern Hebrew? Anybody knows? Pshi, yeah, pshi, pshi, pshi. Why? You don't teach in Ulpan? Almost, yeah, very good. Except that the frying pan today, the modern one, has walls around it, so to speak. Their frying pan was completely flat with no walls, with no whatever, no sides. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. No, no, there was just a frying pan, just like a shallow, round piece of metal. What? Ah, yeah, they had that in India. Interesting. And there was enough amount. It wasn't too much. It didn't spill over. So now, yes, yeah. Okay, interesting. Okay, thank you. So v'chol min chablul b'shel yochol echleku machvas keneged marcheshes. Marcheshes is a deep fry. U'marcheshes keneged machvas. I can understand why the different types. Yeah, the one that's hard, that was fried on the machvas, should not be exchanged with a soft one like a donut, which is in deep fry in deep oil. Yeah, in a whole pot full of hot oil. They come out very different. Shezu ma'asem rakim, shezu ma'asem kashim. This one is soft, this one is hard. Each one, a kohen, for very heilige reasons, each kohen has to taste whatever, not taste, to finish whatever he got, either hard or soft. Aval, what? Now we're getting even harder, excuse the pun. Yachelku machvas keneged machvas, marcheshes keneged marcheshes. Oh, how about that? Let's say from some reason, I like your marcheshes more than mine. I think your kaim nicer for whichever reason. I want to switch your marcheshes for my marcheshes. Yeah, shalalu v'lalu masem koshim, inamim masem rakim. In other words, who says I have to eat what I want? Maybe the one I got, I don't like the shape, I don't like the texture, and you have more or less the same as I do. You have the same type of mincha, and I want to switch with yours, and that's exactly the same. Excuse me. Why would Hashem care? No. Talmud Loimar, v'chareva l'chol bnei Aaron tiyeh. Wow, 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 wow. Chareva talks about a mincha that a soita has to bring, but it's imenu inyan. Chareva means a mincha without oil, the one that the soita gets. It's all different types of menachas to tell you again and again and again. Kol bnei Aaron tiyeh. There's no switching whatsoever. Now, what's the idea? Is it really that the Torah wants Mr. Cohen to finish his food nicely like mommy? No. We didn't yet finish, but the idea is what? The idea is what? The idea is really that it's not yours to exchange. It's not about tastes or this or that or kpodos. You got that donut. Whoever is in charge of giving them out, I don't know. You got it. Somebody gave it to you. It's in your hands. It's not yours. You can't switch something that's not yours. And therefore, the mitzvah of eating is on you. And it's not yours to switch. You're not allowed to. You can't do business with it. If you like the other donut better than yours and you switch, it's a form of business. It's a transaction. Yes. It says in the Gemara in Shabbos, when the Bnei Abayis do a goyrel, it's like a transaction. Yeah, when kids switch food, it's a transaction. And therefore, transaction can't be done. Why? It's not yours to do a transaction. It's not yours to buy or sell. But I'm jumping the gun a little bit just to give you a taste of the idea. But we still continue. Yochol lo yachleku b'kodesh kodoshim. One would say, maybe a korban against the other korban in kodesh kodoshim, yeah, I cannot switch. Menachos, my friends, are all kodesh kodoshim. You know that? All menachos are kodesh kodoshim. The brands that are brought together with the Torah are not called menachos. All menachos, all 6 types of menachos, tanur, yeah, and chalois, rekikim, machvas, marcheshes, soiles, revucha, soito, if you call it, yeah, they're all kodesh kodoshim. Kodesh kodoshim, yeah. Of course it doesn't belong to the kohen. He eats it from the heilige Mizbe'ach. It's so holy. Only man, only inside the Azora, only, avat, avalachlu kodesh kalim. Kodesh kalim, it's light. Maybe kodesh kalim, such as the shlomim, chazeh v'shoik, a kohen receives chazeh v'shoik, shlomim, it's all lighter. Women can eat it. All over Yerushalayim, all over the old city. Come on. Maybe can switch kodesh kalim for other kodesh kalim. Yeah, maybe can give my chazeh v'shoik for your. I only like the chazeh, you only like the shoik. I'll give you 2 chazeh, you give me 2 shoiks, or vice versa. Maybe that's okay. Talmud loimar ish ke'ochiv v'somichlei imal toido. It says ish ke'ochiv, yeah. Each one should eat his own, and each brother should eat his own. Imal toido. And the next pasuk says, Toida, Toidas Kochim Kalim. The juxtaposition between keeping to your own and Kochim Kalim is scary. And he's telling me what? Weiter, first wide line. Kishem shen cholkim b'kochim kochim, kachen cholkim b'kochim kalim. Just like you can't share, or actually not share is not the word, you can't switch. You can't switch your kochim kochim, so to kochim kalim. Bekitzer, you are stuck, my friend, because your kochim kochim or kochim kalim, I'll be in a second, kochim kalim are not yours, finished. They're not yours, and therefore, and even Rabbi Yossi Aglili, by the way, don't tell me Rabbi Yossi Aglili, even he agrees that after it was shechted, right, and you receive it after it's been, you have to understand something which I should have told you before. The reason why zrika is so important, because before zrika, you're not allowed to eat anything. The zrika is matir. The zrika is the point in which first there's kaporo, the zrika, the throwing of the blood. After the throwing of the blood, only then you're allowed to eat from the korban. If you shech the korban before the zrika, if you shech the korban and you don't do zrika and you ate from the meat, it's a terrible affair. You're not allowed to. You're only allowed to eat from the korban after zrika and after the aktoro, the burning of the imurim. Then you're allowed to eat it. Like you're not allowed to be with a woman before marriage. Yeah, there's something you have to do. You can't eat on Shabbos before Kiddush. There's some kind of prerequisite of a condition. The zrika and the aktoro, only they allow you to eat. So you see, it's not yours. You're allowed to eat it like receiving a gift from Hashem. Everyone agrees to that. But what kochim kalim, kochim. I'm not saying everyone. Now let's just see one more. I appreciate your patience because we have to get to the punchline because we didn't yet prove our point of Rabbi Yehuda. And then we have another small point here. It says ish ke'ochiv, ish choyle kafilu bal mum. Oh, the bal mum, by the way, although they did not work in Beis Hamikdash except for debugging the wood back there in the Ezef Noshim in the corner, but Lemaisa, the bal mumim do receive their share. The bal mumim, if anybody thinks they don't have, people who have their incapacity, they do receive they go to Beis Hamikdash and they receive the meat together with the brothers. And the bal mum, ish choylek, a man may choylek, meaning may receive. He may receive from the what you call it. Irashi says, matlim be'etzim umafshitim be'shoichtim. There were three things they did. They can do that law, they debug the wood, and also they would skin the animal, flay the animal, and also they would be menateach, they would cut the pieces, do shchita, anybody can do, but the real avodah they cannot do. So a Baal Mum receives his part and eats it. A cotton, a kohen below bar mitzvah, I don't know what he's doing in Beis Hamikdash B'chlal, he's not supposed to work. If what? They don't, I don't think that Ktanim doing things in Beis Hamikdash. Maybe they brought them. Yeah, a kohen brought his kid to work. Yeah, in order to, so little kohen should see what's going on. So he thinks it's very cool to bring a piece of shtickle meat to the little one. You're not allowed to. Now we come to the punch, and then I'll listen to your question. Stam sifro mani Rabbi Yehuda. That's the main point here. How do you know that this whole statement, they told us very clearly in very vivacious colors? What did we get the message very clear, loud and clear? The Mizbe'ach stuff, the kochim did not belong to you, kohen. You receive them, say thank you, and eat it with a bracha. Don't switch them because they're not yours. How do you know Rabbi Yehuda is the one who said it? We're trying to say that the Rabbi Yehuda, right, the real Rabbi Yehuda, agreed at the end of the day to the other ones, and he believes the kohen cannot be mekadesh because he gave in. How do you know Rabbi Yehuda is the author of this statement? Because this statement is in a medrash of Sifro. Which medrash is Sifro and which chumash? Vayikra. And we have a rule: Stam Sifro is Rabbi Yehuda. A statement made in the book of in the sefer of Sifro medrash Vayikra, unless known otherwise, it was Rabbi Yehuda. He is the author of the medrash of Vayikra. He is the man. He is the one. Oh. We see the Rabbi Yehuda must be the author of that statement, of that long statement, saying what? Clearly, that the kochim do not belong to the kohanim. There we are. How can Rabbi Yehuda contradict himself? He's not contradicting. Originally, he thought the kohen owns the stuff, and then he gave up to who? He gave in, and he was a minority. Like Rabbi Yochanan said, he agreed to his colleagues, Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Meir, that a kohen cannot do anything without, can't switch, can't swap, can't be mekadesh. Make the bracha, eat it, whether you like it or not. It's so holy. Forget about your diet, forget about your being spoiled, eat it, and there's nothing else you're allowed to do with it. It's not yours. It's only yours to eat, and even Rabbi Yehuda believes in that. Yes? when I said all these examples about the diet, I did not talk about kohen. We really can't eat it. Yeah. In other words, the kohen should be able to eat. If the kohen is onus and he can't eat menachos because he's going to start having a rash in his face, or I don't know. That's a shaila for the Rav of Beis Hamikdash. I don't know if it's Baal Muma. That's another shaila. I don't know. We're talking about a kohen who can eat it. He wants to switch. He can't switch. What should he do with it? Maybe he shouldn't get his portion. He should tell the organizer. He should tell the Rosh Beis Av, listen, Rosh Beis Av, I'm not getting mincha. That could very well be. Why not? As we're going to see soon, not everyone took a portion. You're not mechuyev to eat. It's a mitzvah to eat. If you received it, you have to eat it. But if you do not want to eat it, don't take it. Don't take, or tell the guy, tell the Rosh Beis Av, I'm not taking. Once you got it, it's yours to eat. Don't take it. You're an Atkins, so don't take the mincha. If you took it, you can't exchange it because, yeah, it's not yours to. Before he got it. No, to give him a ton, I don't know. I hear you, basically. You're saying Migora, maybe can say, I'm not switching it as a business. He gave it to me, and I never wanted it, so I gave it to my friend. Maybe that's possible. I hear. And then you say, Ki'ilu, the friend received it straight from Hashem. That I can hear. That I can be mekabel. Chaval, we only have 4 Seder. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow is what? Wednesday. Seder. We have an opinion who argues, but Seder. Good. Hatzlacha bracha. Thank you very much. Sorry about yesterday. Believe me, I woke up. It was mamish terrible. So I appreciate your savlanus, and I do apologize. Hopefully, we'll all be with good health. Be able to meet every day. I'm very touched by your email. Seriously, that you cared and you asked about me. Thank you. And hatzlacha bracha. May we all be well and good and be able to learn. Thank you very much. Hatzlacha bracha.